Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Way podcast, where we learn in English poco a poco or podcast by podcast. Today, we are going to be looking at vocabulary that we use to talk about our likes and our dislikes. Nuestros gustos, I think you say in Spanish, right? So today, that's what we're going to focus on. But I've had previous people on the podcast ask me, Aurelia, where can I download the transcript? So today there is a transcript and you can download it from the website, from our blog, right? So just go on to www.theway.es or theway.es. Go click on blog, and the blog and the podcast are in the same category, right? And then you will find it there. So, introduction, check. Where to find the transcript? Check. How about we get started?
Bienvenido al podcast de The Way. Si quieres aprender inglés y hablar con confianza, estás en el sitio correcto. Hemos ayudado a miles de personas como tú a mejorar su inglés y alcanzar sus objetivos. Visita nuestra web theway.es para conocer más sobre nuestros cursos online desde A2 hasta C1 y descubre cómo podemos ayudarte a avanzar en tu aprendizaje. Además, si necesitas una certificación oficial, también ofrecemos la opción de realizar el examen Language Pair cómodamente desde casa.
Okie dokie. So obviously we are going to divide the vocabulary into likes and dislikes. But in that, we are going to separate from the casual or the more relaxed, maybe a little bit more enthusiastic, to, for example, something a little bit more impartial, a little bit more neutral, maybe a little bit more mild. Mild meaning un poco más flojo, right? So for likes, I have 15, and for dislikes, I have 15. So buckle up, everyone. Maybe it's a good idea to listen to this while you are running. Maybe save this podcast for when you are washing your dishes or cleaning the house. But the vocabulary is quite nice. Definitely some vocabulary that you can use automatically to improve your speaking. And also some good ones if you want to use it for any speaking exam, Cambridge, TOEFL, LangCert, etc. But let's start with the likes. So I have 10 of the casual, natural, maybe a little bit more enthusiastic vocabulary, but I'll start with the first 5, okay? Right. The first one is I'm really into, to be into something. All right. I'm really into playing video games, for example. So when you ask someone or when you want to tell someone that you enjoy a hobby, and you say, oh yeah, what are you into? Or I'm into this, right? That's number 1. Number 2, you can use it both positively and negatively to say, I'm a big fan of, or I'm a huge fan of, or the opposite, I'm not really a big fan of. And fan, meaning fanático, a fan, like a football fan, but we use it more for hobbies, not so, or things that you like in general. So for example, I'm not a huge fan of cooking, right? But I'm going to use it in the positive because we're talking about likes. So I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. I wanted to say Anillos de... No, al revés. El Señor de los Anillos. There we go. Lord of the Rings. Huge fan. Number 3. I can't get enough of. Siempre quiero más, basically. I can't get enough of. Remember, of is a preposition, and with a preposition, it always follows with ing, the gerund, or a sustantivo. So I can't get enough of reading fantasy books. I can't get enough of playing video games. I can't get enough of spending time with my husband. I can't get enough of seeing my friends or learning English or whatever it is. Okay. And number 5 is I'm obsessed with. Now, you can say it very casually and just say, oh my God, I am obsessed with donuts. I don't know. But usually, remember in English, we're quite emphatic with our vocabulary. Be like, oh my God, I am obsessed with this new TV show. Or I'm totally obsessed with Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know, something. So we use it quite a lot, right? But I personally use it when I am talking about things that are an obsession, not all the time, but in the moment. So about 6 months ago, I would go to the Chino and I would buy a Kinder Maxi, the chocolate, right? Every now and then. But I loved it. And so I would tell people, oh my God, I'm obsessed with the Kinder Maxi chocolate. Not Kinder Bueno, Kinder Maxi. Kinder, maybe you should sponsor this podcast. No, I'm just joking. Right, let's go through that first 5 to talk about likes. I'm a huge fan, or I'm a big fan of, I forgot one. Did I say absolutely love? I think I missed it. Absolutely love. Now, again, we are using intensifiers. An intensifier is a word that gives un poco más emphasis, right? Absolutely, incredibly, terribly, really. Words like this. But absolutely is like el máximo. I absolutely love going to the beach, right? So we use it quite, because in English it's not the same as Spanish, right? In Spanish you have a lot of vocabulary that shows emotion and can show drama. English doesn't have drama. There's no telenovela in the English language, right? So we use words like intensifiers, absolutely. So let me repeat. I'm a huge fan of, I absolutely love, I can't get enough of, and I'm obsessed with, right? Let's go into the next 10 that I have here that are more casual, more natural, that you would use every day. I'm all about, right? When we use I'm all about, it means I have the ganas. I'm all about journaling. If you know me, if you've been listening to these podcasts, maybe the one with Anthony, Real Life, Real English, I love journaling and it's a huge hobby of mine. So if someone asked me, Aurelia, what are you into? I would say, oh my God, I'm all about journaling and writing. And they'd be like, oh, okay, cool. The next one is also probably one of my favorites because it uses the word jam. Jam is mermelada, right? What you put on toast. But when we say that something is your jam, it really means that this is your thing. This is your hobby. This is the thing that you are interested in. So running is my jam. But it's not just like, oh, running is my jam. When you use the word jam, you need to use that like, you need to show the guys, oh my God, yeah, no, journaling is totally my jam, right? Going to the gym, totally my jam. So there's a lot of naturalness that you need to use when you're using the word jam. Otherwise, it just sounds like, running is my mermelada. It doesn't, you can't just say like, no. Show the drama in your voice. The next one is quite typical, quite popular. I'm crazy about. Very similar to I'm obsessed with. So I'm crazy about football. I'm crazy about going to the cinema. I'm crazy about poker, whatever, right? The next one, I live for. Oh, here's the drama. Now you are basically saying that you can't live without this thing. Necesitas esta cosa en tu vida. Sobrevives para esta cosa, right? You survive for this thing. And it's to say, I live for, right? So lots of people, especially in Murcia, where I live in Spain, love summer. Now for me, summer is too much, un poco demasiado, it's too hot. But when I talk to my students and some of my friends, they're like, oh my God, Aurelia, I live for summer. As in they wait the whole year to experience the summer of Murcia. So it is very dramatic, but we use it to say, for example, I need this thing in my life. Okay. I would maybe say for myself, I live for Christmas. I love Christmas. There's something special about Christmas. And for me, throughout the year, I totally live for the Christmas vibes. The final one is also very typical, to make your day. Right? If something makes your day, it means it's something that you really like or something that makes you happy. So, going for a coffee makes my day. Catching up with my friends, ponerse al día, catching up with my friends completely makes my day. So we use it to say that this makes me happy, it's something I enjoy, it's something I like. And these 10 are very casual, very natural. We use them all the time. Let me just repeat the final 5. I'm all about blah 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 is my jam. I'm crazy about, I live for, and blah 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 makes my day. So let's go through all of them, and then what I recommend is when you download the transcript that you finish the sentence and make a list of things that you enjoy. Maybe try and find different things that you enjoy so that you don't just say, I'm really into football. I'm a huge fan of football. I absolutely love football. Try and change it so that it's not all the same, right? Some that you can use with ing and some that you can use with the sustantivo, right? So let's repeat. I'm really into, I'm a huge fan of, I absolutely love, I can't get enough of, I'm obsessed with, I'm all about, blah 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 is my jam. I'm crazy about, I live for, and blah 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 makes my day. I have another 5, but these are more neutral, more calm, more mild, right? And the first one is kind of. Kind of is like más o menos. So, I kind of like mushrooms. No, that's a lie. I hate mushrooms. What's a food that I kind of like? Broccoli. I kind of like broccoli. I'm not a huge fan, you know. I don't absolutely love. I'm just like, fine. Enjoy, disfrutar, right? I enjoy going to the gym. I don't mind, no me importa. Now we use I don't mind not in a negative way, but like, no pasa nada. I don't mind. What don't I mind? I don't mind sitting in traffic. I don't mind the traffic. Like, it's fine. I'm fond of, this is a very good adjective, and a lot of students don't use it. Fond is very similar to like, but we use it with un poco más cariñoso. So I'm quite fond of you. I'm quite fond of my students. I'm quite fond of going to the beach. It's very gentle, right? And I'm partial to. Now, this is very British and very formal. You won't hear people say this a lot. Now, you can use this in the exam, the speaking exam, and it will be very impressive to say, well, I'm quite partial to, what's a good example? I'm quite partial to watching TV in English, for example. Or, I am quite partial to going for a walk in the evening. It means I'm inclined. I go towards this thing naturally. I enjoy it. So those are the 5 neutrals. I kind of like, I enjoy, I don't mind, I'm quite fond of, and I'm partial. We can also say impartial, but impartial means I have no opinion. So that's not positive or negative. So if you want to say positive, you say partial. I'm partial to. Right. Let's look at the dislikes. Right. So let's get into the first 5 of your dislikes. Things that you don't like. Number 1, it's not my thing. Right? You can say in positive, oh, this is totally my thing. But we also use it in negative. It's not my thing. Football, for example, it's not my thing. I just don't enjoy it. I prefer to watch, for example, rugby, because obviously South Africa is the best in the world at rugby. Sorry, Australia. Right. Another one is both positive and negative, to say I'm into. So in negative, you can say I'm not really into. Well, to be honest, I'm not really into tennis. I think tennis is quite boring. I'm not really into it. Number 3 is the same. I'm not a fan of. Now, you can say I'm not a huge fan. You can say I'm not a big fan. But in general, you can also just say I'm not a fan. I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan of cooking. I don't enjoy cooking. I will cook, but I'm not a fan. Number 4 is a little bit different. When you say it doesn't do it for me, right? When something doesn't do it for you, it means that it doesn't give you the ganas, It doesn't give you that like, oh my God, tengo que hacerlo. I need to. That's the opposite. So for example, what's a good example? Going to Madrid, it just doesn't do it for me. I prefer to live in a small city like Murcia. Then the number 5 is I can't stand. I can't stand is no soporto, odio, basically. I can't stand eating mushrooms. For example, I hate them. I hate mushrooms. I can't stand eating mushrooms. So those are the first 5. It's not my thing. I'm not really into. I'm not a fan of. It doesn't do it for me. And number 5, I can't stand. Let's look at the next 5, right? Is the same as the positive. I'm crazy about and I'm not crazy about. So we use this quite gently. I'm not crazy about Real Madrid. My students always ask me, Aurelia, Barcelona or Madrid? And I'm just like, well, I'm not crazy about either, ninguno. But they're like, no, you must choose a football team. So I say, Real Murcia. But they are never happy with that answer. So I'm not crazy about. The next one is I'd rather not. Now, rather is like, how would you say rather? Would rather is like preferir. I would rather do this than that. So I'd rather not play tennis. I don't want to. I'd rather not. I prefer not to. What is another example? I'd rather not. Someone could say to you, do you want to go play tennis? And as an answer, you can say, I'd rather not. Thank you, but no. Do you want to go play football? I'd rather not, to be honest. So we use it a lot. The next one is I'm not big on. Now, you cannot say this in positive. You can't say I'm big on. I mean, maybe some people say it, but usually it's in the negative. So, for example, I'm not big on watching sport, or I'm not big on going to the terraza. Although, yes, I do like the terraza. I do like going and drinking a tinto de verano. It is the season now in spring. I'm not big on listening to the radio. It's not my thing. I don't quite enjoy it. I'm not a big fan. They're all the same. One that I use quite positive, you could use it positively or negatively. And this one is, it's not my vibe. Vibe meaning ambiente. But when we say something is not your vibe, it means it's not my thing. It's not what makes me happy. It doesn't give me the ganas. It doesn't give me the oomph. You know what I mean? So, running, it's not my vibe. Playing tennis, it's not my vibe. It's like, it's not your thing, right? And the last one is, that's not for me. Or you could say, it's not for me. So it's not for me, or that's not for me. So someone could say, Aurelia, do you enjoy football? I'm like, to be honest, it's not for me. Meaning some people like it, but for me, no. So the last 5 is I'm not crazy about, I'd rather not, I'm not big on, it's not my vibe, and it's not for me. So let's go through all of them together. It's not my thing. I'm not really into. I'm not a fan of. It doesn't do it for me. I can't stand. Again, I can't stand is the same as what was the one in positive? The one in positive was I'm obsessed with, right? It's quite emphatic, right? I can't stand eating mushrooms, right? So it's very like you have to show that you hate it. The next one is I'm not crazy about. I'd rather not. I'm not big on. It's not my vibe, and that's not for me, right? So these are quite lovely. I definitely recommend that you remember some. The thing is, also a nice expression, but the thing I want you to remember is when you listen to a podcast like this or when you download the transcript, I don't expect you to remember everything, right? It's not Dictadora Aurelia. It is Teacher Aurelia from The Way that wants you to remember maybe one new positive like expression and one negative dislike expression so that you can slowly increase your vocabulary, right? But I still have 5 more. So let's look at the final 5. And these are very emphatic, very intense. We use them to express a lot of negative emotion, right? And this one is I absolutely hate. Now, I said I hate mushrooms. What else do I not like? I don't like... I don't like garbanzos. I don't like beans. I absolutely hate eating beans. It's the texture. La textura. Ugh. So I absolutely hate eating beans. And I also absolutely hate washing the dishes. I really, really don't enjoy washing the dishes. Yeah, it's not my thing. Right. The next one is it drives me crazy. Now, you can be crazy about, I'm crazy about teaching English. I have a huge passion for teaching English. But when you say that something drives you crazy, this is a negative thing, right? So be careful with how you use it. It drives me crazy when I say this to my husband all the time. And I say, his name is Caleb. And I say, Caleb, it drives me crazy when you blah, blah, blah. Actually, I'm the bad person in the relationship. He's fantastic. So usually he says to me, Aurelia, it drives me crazy when you don't wash the dishes, por ejemplo. Right. The next one, number 3, is I have no time for. Meaning, don't talk to me about this. No tengo ningún cosa de interés en esta cosa. Is I have no time for. I have no time for copiotas in the class. I have no time for tontos en la calle. It's just like, don't talk to me. I'm not interested. Finish, ya. End the conversation. Number 4, again, to show emphasis. The worst. Eso es el peor. FC Barcelona is the absolute worst. They are the worst. So when you want to say, nothing. Oh, that's the worst. Cooking, it's the worst. Right. And a very good C1, maybe even C2 verb here is another word for hate. Stronger than hate. Desde tu alma, from your soul, right? Is loathe, right? Loathe, loathe. Now it's deep. I don't think I loathe anything. Is there anything that I loathe? I'm just going to use the example of mushrooms. It's the easiest example. So again, quite intense, quite deep. I loathe eating mushrooms, right? And these are beautiful. All of these expressions, there are 30 expressions and they are all fantastic, right? But let's do these last ones. I absolutely hate. It drives me crazy. I have no time for. This is the worst. It's the worst. And I loathe. Right, and that's it for today. I have some questions to ask you. You can find these questions that you can put in your writing, or I do recommend that you keep a book and that you make these little notes and sentences, etc. Right, and these are just questions that you can ask people. Question number 1 is, what are you into these days? That's like, what do you like at the moment? What are you into these days? For me personally, I'm really into coloring. I saw on TikTok somebody coloring in a book and I bought it on Amazon. And I'm a little bit obsessed, to be totally honest with you. The next one is also quite lovely. Are you more of a this or that person? So, for example, are you more of a dog or a cat person? And then the person says, yeah, no, actually, I'm more of a cat person. So you could say, are you more of a beach or mountain person? Right? These are fantastic. The next one is more about your likes in general. For example, do you usually go for, I don't know, do you go for, but I'm trying to think of a good example. Do you usually go for coffee or tea? Right? Do you usually go for whatever, all right? It's not my favorite, to be totally honest with you. I prefer the next one. The next one is, how do you feel about, right? How do you feel about TikTok? How do you feel about Trump? How do you feel about whatever? And then you could say, oh, yes, I'm crazy about, or don't talk to me about this, or whatever the case is. The next one is also really, really good, very natural. Is blah, 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 is that your thing? Right, when something is your thing, remember it's what you identify with. So be like, oh yeah, that's totally my thing. Or no, not really, it's not my thing. So is going to the gym your thing? Or like Anthony's thing is running. So be like, yo, Anthony, would you say that running is your thing? Okay. And then the last one is also talking about fan. Remember that you can use fan, fanatical, and positive or negative. I am a huge fan of, or, I'm not really a fan of. And this one, for example, is the question, would you say that you're a fan of, I don't know, coffee? Would you say you're a fan of coffee? Or, to be honest, I'm more of a fan of tea. While I'm talking to you guys, I'm drinking my green tea, my favorite. It's totally my thing. Right, and that's it for today. Now, if you've listened to this whole podcast and you have downloaded the transcript, please send us a question, one of these questions that you want to know. Remember that you can talk to me, Aurelia, Anthony, or Jack, and you can ask any one of us questions of our likes and dislikes. And that's it for today, everyone. Remember that you can check out our courses. We have courses in English, A2, B1, B2, and C1, and we can help you prepare for the Lang Cert exam if you want a certification for your English. Just contact us and we'll get right to you. Otherwise, I'll check you next week. Bye.
Si disfrutaste de este episodio y quieres llevar tu inglés al siguiente nivel, te invitamos a descubrir nuestros cursos online en theway.es, diseñados para mejorar tu fluidez y confianza en situaciones reales. Hemos ayudado a miles de personas como tú a transformar su aprendizaje. Visita ahora theway.es y realiza nuestro test de nivel interactivo de manera gratuita. Además, si necesitas una certificación oficial, también ofrecemos la opción de realizar el examen English Cert cómodamente desde casa.